Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I am Jason Laporte. As always, my man Zach Partridge in the house. What's up?
What up?
How you doing? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
A little more than I feel like shit, but I'm more worried about you because you got to fight in a little over 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, I'm good, man. I'm
Feeling
ready
good?
to rock and roll. Let's do it this weekend, yeah?
Training's going good, all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah, it's all good. We're all
like
good.
I like it.
We're ready to go.
So we got another fighter spotlight today, and I'm super excited about this one because I did a little bit of research. I hate to admit it, but I'd never seen him fight before, and he's a badass. So we're going to welcome Jason South to the podcast today. Jason, how you doing, sir?
Good, fellas. How you doing?
Good, man. Yeah, I feel bad, man. I was talking to Zach last night. I sent him a message about, 8 o'clock last night, and I'm like, Jason is a badass dude, man. This dude's no joke.
Yeah, I've blocked a lot of punches with my face to get what I want.
It looks like you've given a lot of punches.
Plan, but it's worked.
I think you've given a lot of punches to the face too. It looks like.
Yeah.
So, Jason, same as a lot of people on this card, it's kind of the same, and we know this card's for, it's titled Willpower, and so that's a big reason why we're seeing a lot of old faces. Don't kill me for saying that, but people that haven't
43. I'm 43.
People that haven't fought in a while, you know what I
every
mean?
ounce of it, so call me old. I don't care. I forget in 30 seconds, so it's all good.
So I gotta ask, because I'm asking everybody. We haven't seen you in there in all. It's approaching 5 years, about 4.5 years, right?
Yeah.
And so is this kind of a one and done thing for Will, or is this Jason wanting to get back into fighting a little bit?
Who the hell knows? I when I decided to retire, I've never been knocked out, but I've had a ton of concussions. But I think I was stupid before I started fighting, so I can't really notice any difference. But I was at the point where I got to 10-0, and but I was submitting everybody, and I finished. I got 10-0, all finishes, never decision, nothing. And at the time, like the only thing I wanted was UFC, and like right now, I could care less. I don't have a lot of respect for them anymore, like I used to. I'd rather go to another organization that actually pays. But I was on the verge, and they were like, "We're not interested. You're too old." And I'm like, "Too old? Look at my record. Look at what I'm doing." And I went up to Canada and finally got on national television and lost 2 fights in a row. And one of them was no shame. This Sam Alvey was my first loss. He just fought last weekend.
Yeah.
He did.
He's still holding his own really good. So nothing to hang my head on that one. Then I came back here and I fought 3 more times. But I was like at the point where, like, if I can't fight for a bigger organization, it doesn't quite seem worth it. It's when you're going through all this abuse and getting my face punched in for not much money, it's not that quits becoming real inspiring. But like as all fighters, I take a break and I love fighting, man. I mean, I love fighting. I love walking out. I love putting on a show. I love the crowds. It turns me inside out.
So kind of what I'm kind of hearing is it got to the point where it didn't become as enjoyable or worth it, and it became more of a job than you loved it.
Yes. Yeah. When you get to the point where it's not as enjoyable and the fun's not there, then you start questioning, why am I doing this? And if you question why you're doing this in a sport that can be that damaging, if your head's not into it, you shouldn't be doing it.
I mean, we talk about it. We've had a lot of fighters on here lately. There's nothing like it. There's just nothing like it. And the one thing I will say, I just heard what you said about the UFC, but one thing I do like that Dana White always says and does, he goes, man, if somebody doesn't want to fight, I'm not going to beg them to fight.
Yeah.
This is not the game to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've had fights. I'm sure everybody's had those that you so many people I know over the years, I've heard a lot of people do it. They have a fight, then they quit training until they have another fight. And then they get back in, have to lose all this weight, get back in. Like, I never stopped. I went for 10 years nonstop. I cracked legs, I broke knuckles, back in the gym 3, 4, 5 days later, something wrapped up, worked around everything. So I never stopped. And I was always doing jiu-jitsu tournaments. I was always doing something to fill in the blanks and keep competing. But man, it gets exhausting and it wears you out after a while. And then if that fire's not there, it's probably not a good time to do it when you're not wanting it. I've had those fights, and I'm sure everybody has. You come in so overtrained where you're just like, fuck, dude, I don't even want to be here.
Yeah.
And I've had other fights where I peaked right, and I'm like, dude, put anybody in front of me, and I'll give them a fight. So always finding that balance is a bitch too, especially as I get older. It's, like that Toby Keith song. I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
So with the layoff, so you were welterweight fighting at what, 170 pounds, mainly towards the end.
Say that
or were you always a welterweight? Or you had some middleweight fight?
I bounced everywhere. So I mean, I fought for a lot of years, but I don't have a lot of fights because, dude, I spent a lot of time just chasing people. I went through so many spurts where I couldn't get fights. Back my very first one was Stidham, then I went to Horns, and I went back to Stidham, and then things kind of quit happening for a little while. That was back. I mean, nowadays there's consistency. There wasn't a whole lot back then, and it was I'd train, and 6 months, 8 months, a year goes by, still can't get anything, can't get anybody to sign on the dotted line. So that was a lot. That was happening a lot back then.
Gotcha. What so then I'm going to follow up with asking, are you fighting now for Will because you wanted to be on this specific card, or are you fighting because the fire's back?
Both.
Okay.
So that last fierce fight, so my last fight was Talon Torres, and I actually cornered his wife at the last fierce one.
Oh, nice.
So and Scott Bowler, he's always been such a good guy to talk to, because he's like, before he was part of the commission, he just had so much information, so much knowledge.
Yep.
And I've talked to him a lot.
We've had him on the show.
He's like, well, yeah, I think about this, or I don't think about that. So he had my respect from day one. But now that he's part of the commission, actually it went back to LFA when they were here like a year ago. I was just there, and Scott's like, hey man, just saying, if you ever want another fight. I'm like, dude, don't say that to me. but then at the last fierce, when I walked out, when I was cornering Talon's wife, and I walked out, and I was just like, oh man, it just like brought everything back. And Scott told me before, he said, we're thinking about doing this. Maybe you should think about it. And I talked to Cody. I'm like, well, I'm not young like I used to be, but if you find me the right guy, I'll do it. And he offered me 2 guys, and I said I'll fight either one of them. So,
what do you know about your opponent?
So he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's from Colorado. I think he's got his own school. Good scrappy guy. He's younger. I think he's like 30. Looks super athletic.
Looks like he's been around too. He's fought a bunch of people too.
Yeah, dude, he's got a lot of fights. He's got almost.
Yeah, he's fought Kevin Holland. He's fought Ian Heinich. He's fought Bubba McDaniel, who we had on the podcast. Yeah, he's fought quite a few people.
Wow.
Yeah. So
all right.
He's been around, veteran as well.
So it's funny because I was recently watching some UFC fights with one of my coaches, Jordan Smith, an old Showdown guy. And Jordan, and I was watching Jordan, and I had a blast watching Jordan watch the fights, and he's doing his, and he's in there, and I can't remember which one it was, but somebody got pretty brutally knocked out. They got, and I said, does it ever make you like, when you see that, do you go like, I can't believe I used to do that? Because he flatlined a lot of dudes, and and he goes, nope, it just makes me want to get back in there and do it.
Yeah. No, I remember him. I trained with him a couple times too. That guy was a monster.
He still is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have no doubts.
Training with him it's fun, but I'm like, God, man, can't even imagine actually getting in there and fighting with him. So what's camp been like for you? How long have you known this was gonna happen? You're gonna do this. You've been, because I know you and your brother, you guys are all pretty active rolling and stuff too. But so when did officially a camp start?
Well, I've never just like always in the past, I've never had to say camp because I'm always training. I never stop. And a lot of people put so much emphasis on certain things, and I'm just like, I train. I'll be ready. There's this I have to think about, this I have to clean up, this I have to put more emphasis on. But I don't freak out about a lot of things that other people do. I just need to just tweak things and up things and back things off, up some more cardio, add more rest because I'm 43. I can't do like I used to.
Yeah.
I can, but not as many times. So it's just trying to find the balance of everything, and finding that balance it's always a hard part.
Who are you training with?
So like always, Unified Jiu-Jitsu. That's where I started. That's where I'll finish. Just so much talent there. It's a pure jiu-jitsu school, so I have to go outside to get some sparring in with other people and hit mitts with other people. But I always had my brother in my corner, spar with him, hit mitts with him. Got some other friends. I go up to the pit a little bit and get in where I can, when I can, and with the most talent that I can with as well.
Yeah.
You ever get to punch Lucas Montoya in the face?
It's been a while. He's not very easy to punch in the face, man. He's got like one of the best jabs I've ever seen.
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking for. We've done a handful of rounds. I don't think I've ever actually caught him.
Yeah, dude.
I want to know what it feels like. I'll never forget. He peppered us with jabs. You said his jab is ridiculous. He hits jabs. I'm like, God, my face hurts the next day from jabs. He's like, I barely even touched you. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah, but you touched me 1,000 times.
Yeah, that all adds up too. Oh man. So as far as weight and everything, weight cut, do you have to cut any weight? Are you good there?
Well, so I'm fine at 185.
Okay.
Fuck 170. I'll never do that again unless I got paid, and no one's going to pay my old ass to do it anymore. I'm 6'3". Why I did that, I don't know. I'm not a big 85er, but man, I'm a big 70. But man, the toll it takes on you is just ain't worth it.
Yeah.
But
that's a pretty big weight cut.
I'm in the upper 90s right now. I'm in good shape. I'm not worried.
We're in the same spot.
What was that?
We're in the same spot. I'm fighting 185 on the same night too. We're in the same spot, upper 90s.
Yeah, perfect. So if I wake up the week of the fight, the week of the cut and the fight at 95 or below, I'm happy, man.
Sounds like it's going to be easy, super smooth and easy.
Yeah, well, as easy as it gets, man. My cuts, like, I don't know. I just don't deal with cutting water like other people do. Some people drop 20 pounds and they're still like shadow boxing. I'm like, dude, I'm like blacking out, standing up. I always recover good. Like every time I fought at 70, I was 190 pounds 3 hours later.
Wow.
I always put it back, and it always came back super fast. But man, that process was a bitch, and it just took everything out of me to do it. I love sparring. I love getting ready for fights. I love fighting, but the thought of cutting to 170, it takes all the fun and enjoyment and everything out of it. When you're burning 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day and you're eating 2,200, it's a rough go.
Yeah, that's a rough one there.
Don't say that. Man. makes me nervous to want to go to because eventually
we'll
like,
get there, Zach. We'll get you there.
170 has to come for me at some point, and I'm like, man, I don't.
We'll get you there. We're gonna get you started after your fight. Win your belt, and then we'll get you there.
Question: will it be worth it?
I don't know, man. That's gonna hurt.
It'll be worth it.
So
I mean, when it comes to those extreme weight cuts for me, so at jiu-jitsu I did medium heavy for so many years, and I did one tournament, and I was like, fuck it, I signed up last minute, didn't want to worry about the weight because you step on the scale and you go out and compete. So I went up a weight class and I fucking murdered everybody. And then I stood back, I was like, man, well, how do you weigh that out? Because I'd way rather be a little bit lighter than the guys and feel phenomenal than be the bigger guy and be completely worn out.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
It's a hard balance. Balance there.
Heck yeah,
so,
man.
I think I know a little bit of the answer to this. You said you had no interest in the UFC and the way it's turned out to. Do you watch a lot of MMA still?
Not nearly as much. If it's I won't pay for a pay-per-view anymore. If someone else is doing it or there's a couple good fights, I don't even know half the guys on the rosters anymore.
Well, there's like 800 of them now, so that's okay.
Yeah,
too.
there's a crap load of them.
Yeah, exactly. And for one organization, there's so many. I can't keep up, and I just haven't. I haven't paid much attention a whole lot lately. When it's someone I know or someone local, it's like Cord or Ramsey or Seiler or a local guy or just big names. Like I will watch UFC for like Khabib. I watched that one. Fucking awesome fight. Think people like that I still have a lot of interest in and respect for. I'll watch those, but I'm not obsessed like I used to be. But plus they'll have like 3 in 1 week, and I'm like, I didn't know about anything. It used to be a monthly ritual. There's a fight once a month. We get everybody together, we watch it. It's so saturated right now. You can't keep up.
Every weekend.
That's what my wife says. She's like, she's like, I can't keep up. She's like, you watch it every weekend. I don't know who's who. And Zach and I are watching every fight, breaking down every fight. So we know everybody, we know where they came from. And it can get a little overwhelming though, with as many fights as they have.
For sure.
And with COVID too, they're getting the roster super deep, and they're bringing a lot of people in from a lot of the regional promotions and the LFAs and things like that. That is my wife with the comment every weekend, because she's tired. Like it's like, hey, what do you want to do Saturday? I'm like, well, there's fights on. Of course there is.
Yeah.
So, but I'm still in the obsessed.
What do we want to do? As in, what do I want to do?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm definitely still in the obsessed phase though. I've only been around MMA and stuff for like 4 years. Like this is still fairly new to me. And every year I care less and less about. I grew up football, baseball, basketball, and every year I care a little bit less about the football season and baseball and basketball, and it's the.
Don't even
MMA's just.
I could care less about some kneeling, disrespectful, whining ass millionaires that are oppressed. Get the fuck out of here. All right, I won't go off.
No, you can say it. I'm just saying, as a fan of the sport, that's what I grew up doing. I never grew up. I never wrestled. I never did anything. It was always football, baseball, basketball. That's what I played, and that's what I watched growing up. And I'm sure my wife will pipe in too. At least there was off seasons to those sports. That's the beauty with MMA for me. There's never an off season. I could have trained 6 days as long as I'm like healthy and I could walk. I'm at the gym every day and we're training. And but it's fun.
I never played any sports. I didn't play sports in high school. I didn't wrestle. I didn't do nothing. I started training when I was 29 years old.
Oh, wow. That's me too.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started when I was 28.
Oh, cool. Took my first fight about a year and a half later, and I was obsessed and hooked, and obsessed would be an understatement at the time.
Yeah.
What was it like for your friends and family when you started at 29 years old? Were they like, you're crazy?
Well, it's the same like right now. I still have people like, you're 43. Why are you doing another one? You're an idiot. You're crazy. I'm like, well, if I have to explain it to you, you won't understand because,
That's a good way to put it.
It's
all
the
of us,
competition.
all of us
Yeah.
have our, we all have our own screw loose in whatever way, and whatever makes that screw tight is getting punched in the face or getting our joints bent the wrong way. It's what keeps me sane. It's what keeps half everybody else sane. So it's you can't explain it to them.
Let's see.
This is Steve Sharp.
It would be Jason.
Was it you or your brother that took down Chris Kennedy? Beautiful fight.
Chris Kennedy, I think that was Jake. Oh, Chris Kennedy, no, that was me. Yeah.
No, you beat him.
Yeah.
Did your brother fight too?
He does. Very inconsistently. He always trains.
Yeah.
I got a younger brother too that pisses everybody off. He's been a blue belt for like 9 years and really good. He doesn't even enjoy it like me and Jake do, but he's so good. But me and Jake, yeah, we've been consistent forever, and you know, he traveled for the military for a lot of years, so he was never in the same spot for a long time. So I think that's one of the other reasons why he didn't do a lot of fights. He did a bunch of the all armies.
Yeah,
he did like 3 of those and won 2 of them.
I
second place in one.
Since we're on the subject, and I know we're going to get into your sponsors when we're done, but I think this one deserves a little bit more airtime. And since we're talking about your brother, I want you to talk a little bit about what your brother does with the South Healing Hounds. If you can just give us a little description on what he does and what he does for veterans, I think that deserves a little bit of airtime.
Yeah. So Jake, he started that Healing Hounds with the full intent to raise money, and he struggles like a lot of people, and has great days and not so great days. But he served in the military, did 2 different tours Iraq. He's been all over the country. He's been a drill sergeant, been a recruiter, been at a lot of things, and but he got himself a dog, and it's been a big help. So he's trying to build up this Healing Hounds thing to raise money and bring awareness and everything. So, I mean, those dogs are expensive, and there's so much time put into them. But to be able to get those to veterans without having to pay for it or things like that, it's a big deal, because it's a big help for them. Dog wakes you up in the middle of the night if you're having a nightmare. If you're feeling crazy, it comes over and licks your face. It's all over you. It's a pretty amazing thing.
Man, that is freaking amazing. I would love to get together with him sometime and figure out how we can help promote that a little bit more.
He would love to do it. Help put some more spotlight and
yes,
anything to help our vets, man. It's like I was telling you earlier, it's such a disgrace how our not only our own people but our own government treat our vets. I mean, we are in this amazing free country because of them, because they put it all on the line, and how they get treated is an absolute disgrace. And we need to take care of we've got to take care of our own people that come back not right, and it's because they went over there for us.
Yes, it's 100%. We talked about it before we went live on here, of how, you know, back in the World War II days, those guys had time to decompress as they were leaving their theater of war. Where, you know, guys like your brother, guys that served in that Iraq war, they didn't get that time, and they're not getting that help that they need. So I think it's amazing that he's doing that.
Yeah, and they drop you off the doorstep and kick you in the ass and say, peace out. I don't care if you're a mess or a fucked up or anything like that. It's not our problem. You're just another number, and it shouldn't be like that. It's absolute disgrace.
I have a few different friends that were in that situation, and I see it every day. I hear it from them. They struggle.
Yeah.
And they can't get help. It's like, or they go to the VA, and the VA prescribes them, you know, 100 different pills to take, and says, "Here, take these pills, and you'll be fine." It's like, well, wait a minute. Like, is this really helping me?
Well, it's the truth. I'm so many, and it is. It's just throwing band-aids at them, throwing pills at them, instead of like, let's figure out how to fix this problem. No, let's just keep slapping band-aids on it and numb you up and shut you up and get you out of here. It's not right. It's so not right.
Yeah, that's.
I think it's a topic. I think it's hard for a lot of people to hear And so they just try and stay oblivious to it too, right? I mean, there's just not enough talk about it.
No, there's not. It's how the 90% of everything you hear on the news is absolute horseshit, and they're so skewed in what they're pushing and what their their agendas. I mean, all this like things that should be priorities: sex trafficking, pedophilia, crickets.
Yes.
Our military, our veterans, crickets. They're worried about who hurt whose feelings or who did this. It's our priorities have just gotten so messed up, and they need to be brought back. They really do.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah, Steve Sharp just said the EDMR is great for PTSD, and he hopes the vet insurance covers that. Unfortunately, they probably don't, but that's the eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a psychotherapy treatment. I'm not too familiar with it.
Started hearing about that, and I've heard a lot of success with that.
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, anything that's going to help these guys. Anything that's going to help these guys. Exactly. Well, we'll definitely have to get together with your brother soon, man. I'll probably shoot him a message after we're done doing here and see if we can. I'd love to get him on here, promote it. I mean,
that'd be awesome.
We're not big time yet, but we're on our way, right, Zach?
That's right.
Awesome. Good. And the same thing, any word we can put out, any spotlight we can put on important issues, we need to.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, Jason, what other sponsors do you have?
So I wrote them down, but
they're all listed on. They're all listed on there. I got them in front of me. You want me to read them off?
If you make me look them up on my phone, you probably lose me.
So Jason's sponsored by. I'll go ahead and read them through. So Jason's sponsored by Moochies, authentic Philly steaks. If you've never been to Moochies, you guys are missing out because Moochies is the bomb.
We'll go to Moochies together after.
Don't even start, Zach. You can't have it. You can't have it
after the fights. I can't.
3 weeks from now.
I love Moochies.
Jim Jones. What's Jim Jones?
So Jim Jones is a gym that I've worked out at for years. It's a workout gym. They started with the philosophy of just mind fucking you. So the workout's so bad that it puts you in. It's a mental thing. It's not just a physical thing. Like if you're able to push through this workout and go over and above everything that you think you can be, that's a lot of what their workouts were designed to be. And they've been a big help with my cardio, with my mental health, with my physical health for many years. So yeah. Awesome.
Aspen Roofing was another one. Retro Custom Metals, Doc Thackery's American Hemp, insync.
So Doc,
great. Well, Doc, go ahead.
Yeah, Doc Thackery is my buddy Chad McClellan, who I train with. His daughter was having like thousands of seizures a day, so he was one of the forefront guys to get CBD and all that stuff legalized. So he's made his own company, and he doesn't hardly make any money. He gives so much things away, but he's trying to. He's just really worried about like taking care. So I mean, he went from his daughter having like 1,000 seizures a day to 1 or 2 with the products that they've come up with. So nice. He's amazing. Doc Thackery. It's a CBD. It's not watered down shit from China. It's good, legit stuff, and for a great cause too.
Nice.
Very cool.
insync was another one of your sponsors. Brady Brothers Containers. Yes. What was insync?
Yeah. So insync is my other buddy. He's got an interpretation business. So that's what his business is through medical stuff, through different languages. They do that service of the interpretation.
Okay.
So the other businesses, Brady Brothers Roofing, Aspen Roofing, and Retro. I work for all 3 of those companies, and they've always been a huge fan of me and backed me up with all this. They supported of me training and everything. So they're a big sponsor and a big help for me. Great people to work for, great companies.
You got HyperFly.
HyperFly is a gear company. They're a new one. Hooked me up with a bunch of good gear. Good, nice short skis, stuff like that.
Sweet. Smart Defense.
Smart Defense. So my girlfriend, Mia Strong, works for Elizabeth Smart Foundation, and I
wow.
help teach a little bit there.
Okay.
Again, another huge cause. You know, everybody knows the story of Elizabeth Smart, so we put together a self-defense program, and we're teaching it. And obviously, the COVID nonsense has really put a damper on that. But as soon as this clears up, I think it's going to go insane because there's so much sexual abuse. It's just, again, another one of those things that just needs to have a huge spotlight put on, and things need to be done about it. So we're trying to get our foot in the door with as much as we possibly can, and help women become prepared physically, mentally. That's the other thing. There's a lot of other programs that they just show. They show a bunch of stuff. And another thing that we were talking about, like your nutrition, how there's people that don't know anything that are teaching things. This is kind of one of those other things. I see a lot of people teaching stuff, and I'm like, dude, you're just going to get people hurt. It's going to be an ever evolving thing, but we put together a program, and we're going to keep building on it all the time. The best way to physically take care of yourself, how to get out of situations. So it's not just a one-sided thing. It's a mental thing. It's people that have been abused, helping that way. We trying to build it to be the most like complete thing there is with all aspects. It's not just to kick a guy in the nuts and walk off. It's you know, this has happened to me. Therapy, this is what I can do in this situation. This is what I can do to stop this situation from even happening because I'm being more aware. There's a lot to it. So another huge big thing that's great. That needs to be pushed more.
Sounds like we need to get on board on pushing that one a little more too then.
Yeah, I agree. They do podcasts, so it'd be another Mayo would be another good one. Get Elizabeth on there.
Absolutely.
One just to keep same thing with the veterans, just keep pushing that kind of stuff out.
100%. 100%.
Stuff that's being pushed.
Last two, we got Millennium Machining.
My buddy Carl, he's got a machine shop up in Logan. I've trained with Carl for years. Big supporter. He's the guy that puts on PGI. Huge fan of the sport. Great friend. Great human being. And just helping me out.
Awesome. And then the last two we talked about Unified Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and South Healing Hounds. Yep.
Unified Jiu-Jitsu, man.
And they're right here in Sandy. They're in Sandy, right?
Yeah. 103rd and the Sandy Parkway.
It's right by my house. I need to quit making excuses.
Yeah.
I need to quit making excuses and go over there.
You should go drop in there, Jason.
Dude, that's Unified Jiu-Jitsu, man. I can't say it enough. You're not going to find another. It's not an MMA gym. It's a jiu-jitsu gym. So if you want pure, insane jiu-jitsu with insane talented people, great instruction, no egos, no dick measuring at the door. You just show up, train hard, have a good attitude, smile, high-five each other, ask, everybody. We all want everybody to get better because that just keeps pushing us. Insane gym. It's Pedro Sauer's original when he was here, and he passed it on to Johnny and James, and they're still rolling it. And man, what an amazing place.
Heck yeah. Well, Jason, it's been a pleasure having you on here today. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day and joining us. We'll definitely be in touch, man. And if you guys have not got your tickets, get your tickets now, because I'd be willing to bet that they're pretty much probably almost sold out.
Oh man, the tickets have been kind of a weird thing. The link has kept going down. It was supposed to be 3,000 people. They dropped it to 1,800 people. Do not wait. And anybody that knows MMA people are always last minute. You're cutting weight. You're dying.
Oh, I can't. I'm so grateful.
Hey, bro, you got a ticket? I'm like, dude, Are you kidding me? I've been advertising this for a month and a half. Don't wait. Get your tickets right now.
My last fight, I just started telling people no. Yeah, my last fight, I just started telling people no. Do you have tickets? Yeah. I'm like, I did, but I was like, nope.
Yeah, it's almost not worth it.
I've been in a sauna for 2.5 hours. Nope.
Yeah. My stomach is touching my spine. I don't give a shit about a ticket right now.
Yeah, screw that. All right, Jason, man, we appreciate your time, brother. We will. I listed all all your sponsors are listed on the YouTube comments. So if somebody missed it and wants to see it, you'll be able to check it out. Thanks again.
Perfect.
We out.
Super excited.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.